So in this one, we've got why Enel was ahead of his time. If you guys ask me, right, I believe Enel, in my opinion, had one of the most cracked devil fruits in the entire anime. I believed, right, Enel is actually one of the strongest characters um in the anime series in One Piece. I swear down, I actually genuinely believe that. I just feel like he ran into Luffy too early, man, way too early. Like Luffy's the main character, story needs to continue and whatnot. Obviously, you know, and I was gonna lose, especially like rubber and electricity. But bro, that devil fruit, yeah, letting you guys know. I believe Enel was meant to be like Kaido-ish level, not in terms of like durability, but like in terms of like character build up, like big boss, like final boss kind of energy. You guys know where I'm coming from. Um, his observation haki was fake, bro. Like they described this guy right in the anime as godlike, bro. That haki kind of like helped to kind of showcase his character as some like kind of god in Skypiea, right? Bro, his character was tough. Devil fruit broken. Observation haki insane. Off the scales. I think at that point in time he had the best observation haki in the show outside of Shanks, right? So it's like nah, and that was definitely crazy. But yeah, before we carry on though, I just want to give shout outs to Saturn. You know, I'm watching his video. Listen, now let's just get into it.
The greatest villains in skip One Piece, names like Crocodile, Rob Lucci, and even Gecko Moria are always brought up. Crocodile introduced the idea of a truly overwhelming antagonist with political intelligence and terrifying control over an entire kingdom. Lucci pushed Luffy further physically than almost any enemy before the time skip, and Moria represented the crushing reality of failed dreams in the New World. And yet, despite all of them, Enel always stands out to me. Because Enel is not
I
simply
swear down, like Enel for me was that guy, like out of all the pre-time skip bosses that Luffy fought, like I don't know bosses, whatever term you want to use, right? Enel for me was my personal favorite. Enel for me is the one that was like the most significant. Him and Crocodile.
One of the strongest pre-time skip villains. In my honest opinion, he's arguably the most unique of them. Because what makes him exceptional is not just his power, but the atmosphere, the symbolism, and the pure scale he brings to Skypiea. He completely transforms the arc into something larger than a pirate adventure. And through Enel, One Piece begins to feel bigger than it ever has. The first reason Enel works so well is because he feels genuinely untouchable. See, before Skypiea, most antagonists were still grounded within the world of pirates and marines and warlords. Enel felt completely different. His Gorogoro no Mi granted him abilities that seemed absurdly overpowered for that stage of the story. He could move at lightning speed, destroy entire areas effortlessly, and use mantra, which what would later be understood as observation haki, to monitor nearly everyone.
Mantra, yeah, that's the observation haki, bro. That was insane. I think there was like a scene where he was all the way up in the clouds. Bear in mind, like these guys, I don't even think they even made it to the island yet, bro. And like he was just able to read, not like the room, but like you know, he kind of read. Okay, let's say the room in it. He kind of read the room. You know how they were literally about to even touch ground on the island, because they weren't even on the island where he was kind of sensing their aura, or like sensing, you know, potential
on the island.
To
the people of Skypiea, he was not merely a ruler, he was an unavoidable force of nature. This overwhelming power creates one of the greatest tensions in pre-time skip One Piece. Because even with the Straw Hats still there, it still feels like there's no hope for them. Even after understanding Enel's abilities, defeating him still feels impossible. Oda cleverly resolves this by using Luffy's rubber body as the natural counter to lightning, creating one of the smartest and most satisfying matchup payoffs in the series. What makes this twist so brilliant is that it does not weaken Enel in any way. If anything, it instead reinforces how monsterly powerful he truly is. Luffy literally only survives because he happens to be the one person Enel cannot instantly destroy. Another reason Enel surpasses many pre-time skip villains is his presence. You see, Crocodile was intimidating and Lucci was cold and ruthless, but Enel always carried himself with absolute divinity. Every scene involving him reinforces the idea that he genuinely believes himself to be a god. He judges people from above, casually decides who lives or dies, and punishes resistance instantly
That's literally
with
what I was
lightning
saying
from
earlier
the
in the
heavens.
intro. Where I
Hell,
was like,
even
bro,
his
that
demeanor
kind of added
reflects
aura to
complete
his character.
superiority. He rarely ever appears angry because he cannot imagine a world where anyone could challenge him. And this overall divine aura fundamentally changes the tone of Skypiea. The citizens do not simply fear Enel physically, they fear him spiritually. And that's what elevates the conflict beyond just survival. Luffy is not merely fighting a tyrant, he's tearing down a false god, a false prophet. And this connects directly to the deeper themes of the Skypiea arc, because Skypiea, in my opinion, is probably the most thematic arc in One Piece, exploring faith, dreams, inherited will, and freedom. And Enel represents
Skypiea was really a special arc. I don't understand the hate. This is when I could tell, you know, someone's comprehension levels on the anime of One Piece. Right? If like just ask someone, yeah, if you really want to understand, right, someone's knowledge about One Piece, just ask them their thoughts about Skypiea, bro, and then analyze their answer in it. See what they spit out their mouth. Cause bro, there's actually folks that actually say this nonsense thinking that or come up with this nonsense thinking that Skypiea was like a filler arc, irrelevant arc. It was a horrible arc, bro. Like the themes in this arc, in my opinion, bro, Skypiea is top 5 arc for me. It was one of my most enjoyable arcs. Like the themes that they explored, he touched on it in this video. It was like, nah, it was actually like, you know, it was an arc where I could sit back and kind of like think to myself every step of the way. I don't know, a lot of people don't kind of like that, but I do kind of enjoy those kind of things where it's like I could take a step back and try and analyze things, depict things. I do kind of like that, you know. Maybe that's my nerdy side coming out of it, but I do kind of like that. And Skypiea was that arc for me.
It's tyranny disguised as divinity. He uses fear and overwhelming power to establish absolute authority, convincing others that resistance is meaningless. Luffy, meanwhile, represents freedom in its purest form. He does not bow to gods, fake ones at that, rulers, or destiny. And the final battle between them therefore becomes symbolic rather than merely physical. When Luffy rings the golden bell after defeating Enel, it is not simply a victory punch, it is the destruction of false divinity and the proof that dreams are real. The bell confirms Mont Blanc Cricket's lifelong belief, fulfills the promise of Calgera and Nolan, and liberates Skypiea from fear. Few villain defeats in pre-time skip One Piece or One Piece period ever carry that much thematic weight. Enel's personality also elevates him above many other antagonists. Unlike villains whose arrogance feels exaggerated for dramatic effect, Enel's ego feels entirely justified. Imagine possessing one of the strongest Logia fruits in existence while also wielding advanced observational abilities in a world where almost nobody around you can even touch you. In Skypiea, Enel has no natural predators,
genuinely
so
thought this guy was
he believes
untouchable.
himself to be a god. And this is what makes his reaction to Luffy so iconic. For arguably the first time in his life, Enel encounters something his power cannot dominate. His famous shocked expression after discovering lightning does not affect Luffy is legendary because it completely shatters his worldview in an instant. The moment is funny, but it is also deeply important for his character. Enel's confidence was literally built on absolute invincibility, and Luffy destroys that illusion immediately. And compared to other villains, Enel also possesses a fascinating balance between intelligence and instability. And in my Sanji video, I know I said that Crocodile is smart, and I do still believe that, but he's more politically calculating than anything. And Lucci is more disciplined, but Enel feels unpredictable. He is highly intelligent and strategically aware, yet emotionally volatile and completely consumed by his own delusions of grandeur. This combination makes him consistently engaging whenever he appears on screen. Lucci often feels like a perfect government weapon, but Enel feels like a man who genuinely believes destiny itself belongs to him. Enel's ambitions make him feel strangely ahead of his time within One Piece. Most pre-time skip villains desired political control, military power, or some kind of revenge. Enel wanted to ascend to the Endless Earth. or the moon. It's just the moon. Now, when I first read this, it kind of seemed a bit bizarre and stupid in a funny way, but Oda later expanded on this through Enel's cover story, revealing ancient lunar civilizations and connecting his journey to larger mysteries within the world. So, in retrospect,
so Enel's alive. Wait, is Enel coming back to the story? Is he coming back to the anime? Now this is groundbreaking. This is freaking groundbreaking.
Less like an
bro, I don't be reading
I
don't be reading manga. So this is how I found out that Enel is like still in the anime.
Ultimately, what makes Enel the greatest pre-time skip villain is not simply his power or charisma. It's just the way he expands.
Hold on, I know this video is about, but like if Enel is still in the story, yeah. What? In my previous I done a pretty late during my latest reaction, right? The 1166 reaction. They were talking about Sun God, Luffy, like warrior liberation, and they also talked about God of destruction, kinda, right? Someone who's gonna destroy the world. Is Enel gonna be that? I don't know. I mean, how am I? This is how I found out that
Enel, the series becomes larger than just pirates and oceans. Suddenly, there's gods, sky civilizations, ancient histories, and even mysteries tied to the moon. He transforms Skypiea into literally the most ambitious arc in the series and leaves behind an unforgettable sense of wonder. Crocodile may have been the better mastermind, and Lucci may have pushed Luffy harder physically, but Enel achieved something neither fully accomplished. He made One Piece feel larger than life. Anyways, that's all from me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in whatever I make next.
Hey, shout out Saturn, man. But it's like, do you guys remember that war game or the survival game Enel hosted during Skypiea as well? I also thought that was cool. Like, bro, he was just frying that shit. I can't lie. Zoro. What I remember vividly, they were in the jungle. Chopper, bro, when I first saw that, I thought Chopper was gonna go. You know, I thought they were gonna delete him. Yeah, and then Zoro. I think Zoro actually fights Enel, but Enel just fries his shit badly. The only ones that survived was Robin, I think, and Luffy. But I don't know. I might be wrong. But even then, though, that whole like survival game thing. Where I was like, no, that was cool. Let's not lie now. That was very enjoyable. So I genuinely don't understand how people hate Skypiea. I don't. Even when Luffy saves Nami, when Enel's about to take Nami to the moon, and then that's when Luffy had his one-on-one with Enel and Sanji as well. One of the most iconic parts of the entire arc. Sanji with the cigarette, you know, aura farming right there. Of course. I don't understand the Skypiea hate. I just don't. Like I said, for me, it's in my top 5, top 6, and One Piece arcs. But yeah, man, Enel was definitely fake. That Devil Fruit as well. I just want to touch on that one more time. When I actually think about it, Logia type as well, bro. That Devil Fruit is one of the most potent Devil Fruits in the entire animes. I'm telling you, if you think about it, bro, that Devil Fruit, right? That Lightning Devil Fruit. It's probably as potent as Sabo or Ace's Fire Devil Fruit, or even Akainu's Magma, bro. I'm telling you, like, I think that Devil Fruit probably fries the shit out of Kaido. I'm not even joking. It would cook, bro. It would turn Kaido into a kebab, into a skewer, fam. I'm not even joking. And that was truly one of the observation haki off the chart. Aura on the character, insane. And again, Devil Fruit was a cheat code. Logia type as well. But yeah, man, Enel was ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time.